Okay, some tools. So, one of the first really important things when you're working on anything, especially when you're working on things like this, is lighting. I bought that 2 years ago when I was refurbing my kitchen with a friend of mine. It's dead bright, as you can see. It's obviously flickering because cameras and LEDs don't mix very well. It's very bright. It's very good, and it was about 40 quid, I think, 50 quid from Tool Station. So very important to have some good lighting, because especially if you're doing it late night and stuff, which I commonly do. I'll come in here late night. I've only got two strip lights. Got one there, and I've got one up there, and they're not very bright. And obviously, I've got a lot of stuff on the ceiling, roof of the garage there, blocking that first one. So yeah, important lighting. Right. Okay. So a couple of other handy tools to have while doing things like this. They're not a tool so much as a consumable. Thread lock. So thread lock does what it says on the tin, it locks threads. So I'll be using that on as much as I can use it on, basically, just to try and keep everything tight. I've got a box of bolts there, which you don't need to know about because you all know about bolts, I imagine. Automatic punch, another handy thing to have for when you're drilling metal, so that your drill bit doesn't wander about the place. So I'll pick one of them up. Right, so when I first bought that, it had electrical system in it, and I was going to use that electrical system, but I've since decided I'm going to build my own loom because it was just poor quality. As I said, the paint was poor quality, everything was poor quality on it. So I've since decided I'm going to do my own loom. So I've picked up some tools to help me in that sort of endeavour. Another separate one to the electrical stuff: crimple kits, picks, terminal pins to take out terminals in plugs, which I'll show you shortly. That was a handy tool set to have. I think that was about 20 quid, 25 quid, something like that. I'll close that in a bit because I can't. 1 second, I've forgotten a tool, bear with me. Okay, so because I decided to do my electrical system again, I've had to think about a lot of things, how I'm going to attach it to the frame, how I'm going to terminate things and stuff like that. So the first thing, a set of copper crimp ends with heat shrink, just because I've spotted them and I wanted them for something, another project. Well, I say project, some work on my pickup truck, and I figured I could use them in the trike if I needed to. But the main thing is these. So I've got 3 different sets of waterproof vehicle electrical plugs. I could just hardwire everything and not bother with plugs, but if something goes wrong, I have to strip out and start sort of butt connecting things and stuff like that, and I don't want to do that because the more connections you have in an electrical system, the more can go wrong. So I got that set, and that set came from Temu, if I'm honest with you, and this set came from Amazon. The difference with this set is it comes with a set of crimps specifically for these little terminals, and wire stripper, which I'm not too fussy about. I'm a spark by trade. I have side cutters. I could strip wires and stuff with side cutters, but it came with them anyway because I wanted the set that came with these and the bigger set, and that's how it came. And the plugs and connectors underneath, a couple of terminal removers, So I think I've got enough plugs without having to buy any more. These ones are similar, they're not the same, but they look the same as Dutch connectors, which are the expensive ones. A set this size of Dutch connectors will cost you 130 quid. So obviously they're the more expensive because they're branding, and they're probably more reliable, to be fair. We'll see how these go. If they go wrong, if they don't work, if they burn up, then I'll have to go out and get the proper ones and use the proper ones. But I'll take, for the sake of the fact that these 3 sets cost me probably 50 quid altogether, instead of just a single set costing 130 quid, you take the chance on it, don't you? And if you know what you're looking for as an electrician, like I say, you know what you're looking for things to go wrong. I have another mobile phone that's got a thermal imaging camera on it, so I can use that to check everything. So I'm going to use that and take a chance on the cheaper parts, and hopefully they will pay off. The only other things for the electrical system are ways to attach it to the frame. So these clips, which will be used for the electrical system, and any cables and stuff, because obviously with it being an old engine, everything's cable operated. So they'll come in handy, and I've got another set of those somewhere else as well to use the cable, and clip-in cable ties again for the cables for the electrical system, which will be wrapped in cloth wrap. I did get this cloth wrap off of Temu, thought it was bigger than it actually is, but that'll come in handy for the smaller things, which you'll see me putting together over time. Smaller looms for lighting and stuff like that, which you'll see me put together over time. That'll come in handy for that, and I will get the proper size stuff for the main looms. Oh, the instructions for my crimpers. So yeah, that's some of the tools. Obviously other tools, our impact drivers, drills. I favour Milwaukee quite a lot, which I know is quite divisive amongst people, but I favour Milwaukee quite a lot, so you'll see a lot of Milwaukee tools being used. So another thing that's quite important, or quite handy, is a tap and die set. Now as you can see, that's quite an old one. It's not an expensive one, it wasn't a cheap one either. I picked it up a long time ago actually, but that will come in handy, especially if you're using old stuff. You can rethread, you can check the threads and stuff like that, and it's quite it's a handy tool to have. Another important tool, which I've just recently purchased new ones of because my old one's old, is a set of torque wrenches. Now I bought those off of Amazon. A lot of the stuff I've bought off Amazon, to be fair, because it's handy and it comes whenever you want it to come. It's next day. Yeah, especially when rebuilding the engine. Any parts in the wheels and the hubs and all that kind of stuff all have to be torqued down to a specific torque so they don't fall off. Engine, obviously, that has to be torqued down. A lot of stuff, especially head bolts and stuff like that, to specific torques. So they are a handy tool to have. About a set of 3. They go down to low, really low torque, up to high torque. 220 newton meters is the highest. 5 newton meters is the lowest, and everything in between. So they're very important when you're building engines, building anything that's a fine machine. So I bought those. I can't remember. I think they were about 70 quid for the 6-piece set. I can't remember how much that was. Like I say, I bought that a long time ago, but it's a handy tool to have. So yeah, sorry, they're two handy tools to have. This was 75 quid, I think, at the time I bought it. So a lot of people know about pop rivets, and how useful they are, but not a lot of people know about these, and I didn't until I started looking into it properly. It's a riv nut. kit. So instead of threading the hole with a tap and die set, you put this insert into whatever size hole you've got, and it works like a pop rivet. That nailed area there crushes as you tighten it up, and you've got basically a threaded insert that you put in any holes. The set goes from M5 to M12. I could have got a slightly cheaper set. I only went up to M10, but I thought I'd get the M12 just in case. And these riv nuts, I don't think I'll use these ones because they'll just be the cheap ones that come with it. But you can get all sorts of materials, all sorts of different things. One of the ones that I've got to get are countersunk for certain things that I've got to do. So I've been searching online. They're not cheap, but hey ho. Countersunk stainless steel or countersunk aluminium. Well, it'll be stainless steel to be fair, to try and prevent rust. So yeah, that's a handy thing to have. Obviously, the biggest thing that everybody, if you're doing mechanics, has is a socket set. So a very, very, very long time ago, my father bought me a socket set, and I have extended it since. I've literally just bought those deep impacts because I've lost a few of the deep impacts that I've got, so I got a new set. I thought I'd lost more than that, to be fair, but hey ho. So I've got I got a new set and put them in this morning. I need to get a new set of shallows because I've lost a few of those as well. No doubt I'll find them as I sort through my tools. So yeah, socket set, important, obviously. I've also got a little, from Toolstation, Minotaur set of boxes, rubbish. Forks bits, both long and short, and Allen keys, both long and short. I bought those from Toolstation, and the guy who worked there said, before you do anything, wrap the two ends where the ball holds the bit in insulation tape, because you will lose the ball because of the quality of them. Obviously they're not expensive. I think this set was about 20 quid. When you look at professional sets, they're just scores more, a couple of £100 for professional sets, as far as I remember. Blue Point, Snap-on, that kind of thing. So he said, wrap them in insulation tape and you'll never have any problems. This set will last you forever. So inevitably I did lose one of the balls. Luckily I found it because I was working on a table. So I thought, right, okay, I'll do what he says. So I wrapped them in insulation tape. But yeah, that's a handy set to have. And not very expensive. Okay, so the other tool that I was just going to show you is the Milwaukee M12 BPRT0. It's a electronic pop rivet gun. Like I say, my favourite Milwaukee. I always have, and I always will. I've seen poor quality from DeWalt. I've seen Makita are okay, but I just like the red, to be honest. So I have a Milwaukee angle grinder, 18 volt combi drill and impact driver. I'm going to purchase a couple of new tools as well. I've got I'm thinking about getting a nut runner instead of using my impact driver to run nuts, which is what I'm doing at the moment. But they're not going to be Milwaukee because they're damn expensive. They're going to be a brand called One Van, which I don't know if you have heard of, but it's my father-in-law bought one and they look very good and they're very good quality. And I've looked into it and they are very good quality. I've seen some good reviews on them, so I'm going to get one of those at some point soon, which I'll take you through once I've got that. However, so I spotted someone on site using one of these and I wanted one. But like I say, I couldn't justify the cost. The tool only was 160 odd pounds, I think it was, and then the battery on top of that, you can get a M12 Milwaukee battery for about a 2 amp hour battery for about 20 quid from Toolstation. The 4 amp hours are a little bit more expensive. I think they're about 35 quid, 40 quid, and then you can go up from there, but you don't need any more, especially for this. If you've only got one M12 tool, which I have, everything else is 18 volt, then there's no point in getting any more than a 4 amp hour battery maybe, which is what I did. I bought this off of Amazon, and then I bought a 4 amp hour battery separately off of Amazon. I don't know if you've done pop rivets before, you know the hand crank. I've got one somewhere, and I've got the big one that you can scissor with, and they're alright if you're doing 1 or 2, but if you're putting 250 in, which last count, I've got a count again, you'll see the CAD drawings that I've been doing. I've got a count again, but last count I've got 250 rivets to put in. To put 250 rivets in with a hand one, it'll kill your hands. It'll kill your hands, kill your fingers, and probably kill the tool as well. So I went out and bought this. So it's a nice little tool. It's got the rivet catcher, the spandrel catcher, sorry, off the back of the rivet, so when it pops the rivet it breaks the spandrel off and deposits it in that. I've got my 4 amp hour battery and the tool itself. So this does rivets from 2.4mm to 4.8mm. The head's small, so it fits in any tight spaces, and it should be nice and easy to use to sort out. Just put the spandrel holder on it, and then the battery in it. So your extra bits are in here for your other size rivets. 4 amp hour battery in, and it's all good. Very handy tool to have when you're putting a lot of rivets in. Like I say, I'll have very little cause to use it once I've done this, unless I have to take some body panels off. But worth the time and effort saving when you're doing hundreds of rivets at a time. So that's the only other sort of tool I want to take you through. I've also got a lot of hand tools and other tools in toolboxes behind me, which you'll see me go to commonly throughout these videos. So I'm going to look at what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all the engine parts out and show you through those, and then we'll wait for my uncle to turn up.